Welcome to the Collegiate iRacing League and our Road America Grand Prix here in the College Prototype Challenge from Road America, the legendary racetrack in Wisconsin. I'm Sky Shrek, and I am joined tonight by Christian Hill, and we're here to put on a great broadcast tonight of the College Prototype Challenge. How you doing, Christian?
Not bad. How are you? Sorry. I'm not usually the one doing both. Yeah, it's going to be a good race tonight. I'm excited. I actually haven't broadcast one of these ever yet. So it's going to be good. It'll be fun to watch, see them race. And I'm on the different side of things. Usually, actually, I think I'm the one racing. So it'll be good to sit here, watch, see what they do, and see from the other side.
We're here at Watkins Glen, and I believe you got an alumni win at one earlier in the season as well. It's been a pretty fun season. We've seen a lot of really good racing. Jordan Johnson has kind of pulled away with it in a lot of these races, but we saw last week Muhammad Ali broke through to get the win. Ball State University has been slowly closing that gap closer and closer, and they're going to try to get that a second win here tonight at Road America.
Yeah, Jordan Johnson really has been running away with this. I think they've won. We're on round 12, so. 10 of the last 12 or 9 of the last,
like that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of them. He's won a lot of them.
I think Watkins Glen, Fuji, and
there was one he was on spring break, and those are the only 3.
Yeah, so I think it's 9 of the last 12 that Jordan Johnson has. Jordan Johnson's won. Is just an absolute menace, dude. He is amazing in these cars. I give him props.
Yeah, he's got that setup working. This is an open setup series, and we've seen teams like Ball State take advantage of that to just kind of dominate at points. Jordan Johnson has absolutely done that. He's on a pro team. He's got a pro setup, and he's been fast every race this season. That's something he's going to want to keep going as we head into tonight at Road America.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a fan favorite track. It's interesting. It's one of those middle tracks where it's a blast to drive. It's a really long track, but people don't like when you think of these go-to track, these amazing tracks. You don't generally think about Road America, but once you drive it and you realize how much fun it is. You got the Sargento. We are cheese people. It's such a good track. It's definitely 100% one of the most underrated tracks on the service at the moment.
Yeah, NASCAR was always a ton of fun when they ran here. IndyCar is great. Pretty much any series that comes to this track puts on a pretty good show. You got a lot of big straightaways and a lot of good passing opportunities in the slower corners. Really fun track to pass on, really fun track to race on. I mean, it's one of those that's like, it's really good for driving, but it's also really possible to overtake. A lot of chances to make moves. There's a lot of chances for action to happen, and there's still plenty of technical corners for drivers that they have to get right and avoid making mistakes in order to have a good run.
Definitely some technical corners. There's I do not remember the corners name specifically or the numbers, but there's a almost an uphill left-hander that you have to take. So you come up off the hill, and then it's immediate left-hander, and you're still when you're driving at these speeds with these CPC car or these prototypes, you're still kind of light. You're still kind of in the air. If you turn too quickly, you're not gonna have the grip on the rear end, and you're gonna spin the car. And it is a technical track, but it is a fun track.
It's one that's always really enjoyable. It's just to enjoy watching and also to drive in any car on iRacing. I've found we're getting ready. We're going through qualifying and warm up here. We're getting these drivers out on the track.
Let's take a look at some of these drivers here on the track
tonight. We'll see this happen. Believe we should be about halfway through qualifying right now if the session time is correct.
Yes, we're 4 minutes in. So here's Ryan Whitlock.
This is Ryan Whitlock.
He's a pretty good contender. Usually get podium, right? He's up there in the podium range.
He's had a bit of a hit or miss season, I would say. I think he's had some really good runs, pulled out third or fourth. There's been certain races where he's kind of the only car interrupting the Ball State dominance. But then there's also been races where he's just kind of crashed very early on or had a bunch of spins and put himself really far back. So it's all over the place for him, really. And we'll see if he's able to get one of those top 3 or 4 runs today, or if he spins it out on lap 1.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing how Ryan Whitlock will do. There's quite a few people in here. I think we got about 12, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, we have 10, 12 people. Obviously, I know Jordan Johnson's going to do well. We have Cale Davidson. We have Cale Davidson. You know, we have Hunter Hidesti. Hunter's always done well. We have R. Muhammad Alif, of course. And Edwin Onofre is not anyone to kind of scoff at. You know, Edwin's done really well. So I think Edwin's gonna, you know, in the obvious, you know, plaid or flannel, I guess you can call it, livery. That's his basically his brand. So I think he's gonna do well. You know, this is his car. This is his thing, right? He is always driving these cars in IMSA constantly. I'm friends with him on iRacing, and he's just constantly doing this. And if he's not on here, he's watching someone drive them. So these are his, you know, blood and life, you know, essence.
Yeah, he's run. I mean, we've seen him run pretty fast this season in a lot of these races. But in a lot of ways, he's kind of just like gotten in his own way at times, it feels like. He's had a lot of pit road penalties, a lot of mistakes that have put him back down the order. And if, as you see one right there, he's crashed into the wall. He's set himself back in a lot of these races. He's got the pure speed at many of these tracks, but he hasn't quite had the consistency to put himself up there and try to contend for wins this season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I haven't been around for everything, but yeah, he's definitely someone who I kind of expect to do well. You know, he's done well always. I always see him up in the top front, you know, top 4, top 5. I'd say he gets a little unlucky, but I think he has just absolute great raw pace.
Yeah, he's definitely got the speed, and if he can put a full, clean race together, I think he's really got a shot here tonight to at least try and get some good points on the board to get himself a top 4 or a top 5 to try and make this work for him. This is Ben Fiore of Marist College going around. Hasn't run some of the last few races, but he's been fast in the ones he has run. We've seen him kind of around that top 5 spot. A lot of really fast drivers in the field tonight. We're going to look to try and pick up some points and try to get some cash at season's end.
Yeah, you know, Ben Fiore is done. Oh, there he is again, getting some signal loss. I mean, I know the East Coast right now is kind of getting pummeled with a bunch of storms. I know that just came up from the down south, so I'm not expecting everyone to have some perfect connection here, as well as myself, as I'm in the East Coast. But we'll see if we can make it through tonight and you know, make it without any major issues.
Yeah, a lot of weather. There will not be any at Road America here tonight. I believe the chance for rain in the forecast is 0% for tonight's race, which is very disappointing as a meteorologist, but it's probably very good for all of our drivers out here who do not want that.
Yeah, I know personally. I'm getting kind of tired of rain. I know it's the new fun thing, but I just feel like it's in so many sessions right now. It's kind of all over the place. And I'm just kind of tired of it. I need some dry conditions. I need some just bone dry, not hot, just good conditions for good racing.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of good racing this season, and I mean the rain races were fun, but we've had fun in the dry too. I run a lot of oval, so I actually haven't run that much rain yet, but I'm terrible at it when it does happen.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm the kind of the same way, right? I don't know. I jump back and forth. I actually haven't gotten time to do a lot of officials recently. So it's oh, there we go. We are real cheese people. Excuse me, not we're cheese people. One of my favorite things ever. I have it on one of my cars now. When I was one of my paints, but not to continue talking about this, but yeah, it's rains just a lot. I know some people ended up driving a little bit of it in oval. It was you know, fun before iRacing fixed it. Ooh, but yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be a good race.
It was really great. It was really great when they let you run figure eights at Slinger for about a week there. That was really good in the rain. So we're running through the warm-up session right now before this race starts. We're going to try and get a look at our grid here soon, leading up to the start of this race. But right now we're watching these warm-up laps, drivers getting one final chance, set up their car, make any adjustments they need to, get on the ball for tonight's 45-minute race from Road America. As should be pretty fun when you see some of the cars going around as we take views of this track. Ben Fiore was going around a little earlier. We got a couple more cars out there setting some laps down. There's one right there hovering around the Sargento billboard.
Yeah, why don't we take a look here at our starting grid? Why don't we?
All right. On pole, we've got Jordan Johnson of Kent State University for what feels like the 20,000th time this season. But we got a bit of a surprise to his outside. Cale Davidson from Ball State takes that second spot, demoting his teammate R. Muhammad Alif down to third. Ryan Whitlock from the University of Alabama Huntsville will take fourth, and Bradley Skinker, also of Ball State, will take fifth. Ben Fiore of Marist will roll off sixth, with Andrew Burrow and Hunter Hadesty, both of Clemson, on that fourth row in seventh and eighth.
Yeah, then we just finishing. Oh, sorry, I wasn't sure who's going there, but we're finishing out the grid here. We just got Jason Wallet in ninth from Drexel University, a pretty good name, pretty big name in Cup on Mondays if you watch that. Then we got Aiken Lamar from HCC, who actually is from the same college as Keith Brubaker, your normal Wednesday night FC producer. And we got Edwin Onofre, who I am shocked. I am actually shocked that Edwin is down in 11th with a 151.1. And then Lucas Moody, who I think just got into the session right before they switched over. And so did not qualify there for that Ball State machine.
Yeah, one thing that immediately stands out to me is we've seen Jordan Johnson take pole in a lot of these races by up to a second and a half even on R. Muhammad Alif in some of these tracks. We have 5 cars within 0.6 of a second of Jordan Johnson tonight for that pole time. Davidson, Skinker, Alif, and Whitlock are all right on Jordan Johnson's tail, and if 3 of the Ball State cars are fast, you have to imagine Lucas Moody, coming from last place, is going to have some speed as well. So maybe some more contending with Jordan Johnson to try and take that win away here tonight.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good race tonight. I think we have a pretty kind of shaken up grid there. I mean, obviously you have the top 3, but I think Cale Davidson kind of pushing out R. Muhammad Alif there for that P2. That's that first row slot. I think that's really going to affect things there, and I'm interested. And I think actually that's going to give Jordan Johnson a bigger lead to be able to run away for it, because these two Ball States, unless they kind of do some team maneuvers and stuff like that, I think they're going to end up battling each other and just extending that gap out for Jordan Johnson, and he's just going to run away.
We have seen some team orders a little earlier in the season from those cars. I believe last week we saw Moody or Skinker letting Moody pass for a position at one point. So they've had a little bit of team orders, but for second place in the race, I'm not sure if they'd do it. Jordan Johnson, we're going to see if he pulls away like he has in many of these other races. I'm really interested to see if Cale Davidson is actually able to hang in there, or if Alif is able to challenge him, like what happened in the last race at Fuji, or if he is going to use that speed, maybe had a little bit of a bad qualifying lap and try to take off. We're getting ready to end warm-up here. 10 seconds left before these cars hit the grid and we get to start tonight's race.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's going to be a good one. I'm not exactly sure how turn one's going to kind of happen. It's a pretty easy turn one in comparison to these rest of these races, or these rest of these tracks, as we see there Cale Davidson just send it into the wall right as the race is about to end there. So but yeah, we have some spectators there looking on, and that's a fun left-hander that it's a tricky one because it gets a little tighter towards the second part of it, but it's like the beginning second. It's a very strange left-hander. I'll give it that.
There's a lot of fun spots on this track, especially in these prototype cars. I mean, it's fun anywhere, but these cars really just bring out the best in tracks like this. You've got a lot of room to work with and a lot of fun corners for these cars to fly through. So we're getting them set up here on the grid. You see that's Jordan Johnson on the front row next to the 69 car of Cale Davidson from Ball State. They'll go out, they'll do a pace lap, and they'll set off for tonight's race. That Apex Racing car of Jordan Johnson, as beautiful as ever, starting on pole.
Now I got a question for you as we're gridding up here. We got all of our cars ready to roar. you know, this is something I guess I'm bringing over from Cup. You guys might do this here as well, but who do you think is going to win? Who is your pick to take tonight's race? Okay, excluding Jordan Johnson. We're not talking about Jordan Johnson here.
I'll get there. I'll get there. I would say Jordan Johnson, but the only other time we've done predictions this season was Watkins Glen, a race where Jordan Johnson crashed out 10 minutes in. So we're not going Jordan Johnson, and I'm gonna take the other obvious pick, R. Muhammad Alif.
That is a great pick. R. Muhammad Alif, I think, is a really good pick. I'm gonna go for an underdog here, and I'm gonna say Jordan Johnson is gonna have an oof, and maybe he's gonna have it with Alif. I know that happened in the rain there in Fuji. I'm saying Ryan Whitlock's gonna take the win tonight. I think this is Ryan Whitlock's time. I think this is his track. I think he's gonna do well. Okay, with the exception of Petit. If this was the last race of the season, I'd feel a lot more confident about my vote. But I think Ryan Whitlock, trying to make it a little spicy, I think he's gonna take the win tonight.
All right. Yeah, we've seen some good runs from him. We've seen a lot of good runs. I think this is gonna be a lot closer than some of the races we've had this season with the Jordan Johnson. Jordan Johnson 58-second win that we had at Daytona, and I believe it was Athena Leclerc who won by 2 full minutes at Watkins Glen. This race is set to be a lot closer than those two tonight, especially with the lap times being ran in qualifying, and I am excited.
Yeah, Athena Leclerc won by like a lap and a half, but that was just because everyone crashed. And I'm personally, if anyone was watching then, I'm a little still salty about that. I was just not paying attention. I'm mad at myself. I'm not mad at anyone in specific. You know, no one did anything. I had a little instigation there with Clint, but it was fine. It was just a racing incident. To do the rain. But yeah, I'm definitely still upset about myself. That could have been my first, not only my first podium, but my first win in CIL in general. And I had a little oopsies. Actually, I had a few oopsies, but two big ones.
I was gonna say I might be to blame because we did jinx you in the booth. I think I pointed you out that you were running in third, and we cut the camera to you, and you were head on into the wall.
Yeah, I'm still not sure what happened there. I locked my brakes up, but I was off the racing line, so I wasn't on the rubber, and I tried to, I let off, try to hit my brakes again, and it didn't work. So I'm still not really sure what happened there, but it happened. It kind of, things happen, but we move on. We live.
We're getting these cars ready to go. You see Jordan Johnson tailgating the pace car there, trying to run him over, intimidating the pace car driver a bit before we start this race. Just a little bit left here in this pace lap, and then we'll get ready to take the green for tonight's race from Road America.
Yeah, I definitely should have delayed the grid a little bit there, or some of the stuff. I even said it in the beginning of the race. This is a very long lap. As you saw, they were running 150s, one high 40s for this, and that's one of the longest on the calendar, with the exception of rain times. These are very long pace laps. So I wish they cut it in half. I wish we did a half pace lap.
I mean, some tracks do that. This one doesn't like us. This is one of the longer tracks. I believe when NASCAR went here, it was the longest on the calendar, 4 miles long. It's a track with, like I said, a lot of really long straights, a lot of fun zones. Because you compare it to a track like COTA, where it's, 3.5 miles, and it's got like 23, 24 corners, something like that. Here it's 4 miles, and we've only got 14. There's a lot more room to let the car stretch its legs, let it go fast, and we're coming to the start-finish line here. Pace car is going to pull in down this front straightaway. We're 2x2, come into the line, up the hill to that start-finish line. It's going to be Jordan Johnson and Cale Davidson leading us to green on the front row, and they are off. Jordan Johnson shot out of a cannon there to take the green flag here at Road America, and he is gone by the time we even get to turn 1. Cale Davidson's pulled in behind him. That's a Leaf there in third, and then Ryan Whitlock's back behind him in fourth. So a huge start for Jordan Johnson. And actually, no, that's a Leaf in second. Cale Davidson drops back to third, so a bad start for him. And we've already have a crash. Andrew Burrow is around in the grass.
Andrew Burrow around in the grass, I think. Oh, I think with Hunter Hidesti. I'll have to take a look at that just in a little bit. But yeah, that's does not sound good for Hunter Herdesty or Andrew Burrow. Andrew Burrow missing that rear wing is definitely gonna make a bit of an issue for that. You can run without a rear wing in the rain. Can't run without a rear wing in the dry. Oh, and he goes around
Oh,
again.
and there he goes around again as you say that. Yeah, maybe a little teammate on teammate violence there with those Clemson cars. This is the 69 of Cale Davidson. He had a really bad jump on that start because you saw R. Muhammad Alif, and not just Jordan Johnson, but R. Muhammad Alif, who started on the row behind him, just completely blow past him into Turn 1. So a huge jump from him tonight is going to get him up there or a huge jump from Alif is going to get him up there into second. He'll get a chance to try and chase down Jordan Johnson, while Cale Davidson, who set the better time in qualifying, is going to be on the tail of his teammate in that third spot. And then the driver you mentioned as maybe a sleeper pick to get a good result tonight, Ryan Whitlock, is there in fourth.
Ryan Whitlock still holding on to that fourth position. You know, R. Muhammad Alif, as you said, switched around there with Cale Davidson. But they're kind of spreading out now. They've got about a second. Jordan Johnson's already put a second. You know, it'd be helpful if I put the ticker up. Jordan Johnson already has a second and a half, 1.6 seconds on Alif there, and then from there it's about a second from Alif to Cale. But yeah, it's already a crazy race, and Ryan Whitlock's holding on to that. We got a bit of an action back down in the 8th and 9th place there with Aiken Lamar and Edwin and Alfred.
Yeah, this is for 10th as well, so a couple battles right now. Oh, my bad, this is 8th and 9th. Sorry, I thought that was Lucas Moody we were showing. Bit of a confusing car color there for Edwin Onofre as he's running 9th. Just got passed by Aiken Lamar. He tried to get him, but he couldn't make the move stick. Both of these cars up a couple spots from where they qualified with that Burl crash. I believe they started 10th and 11th. That's Onofre they're both up 2 spots. Onofre up to 9th, Lamar up to 8th. And he's still on his tail here, heading through the right-hander. Pretty fast corner, but this one's a lot better of a passing zone if he's close enough. Sends it in, but he's not close enough there.
Oh.
And Lamar goes wide out of the corner, and that is going to allow Edwin Onofre to make the pass.
Yeah, we get Aiken Lamar went out wide. I'm not really sure. That's not I guess break late. So some of these braking zones, since like you said earlier, you have these really long straights. And if you don't get on the brakes in time, you're going to end up going wide. And luckily, they do have good runoffs, except here. This is a spot that you got to be careful because you can easily just send it right into the gravel and into that their tire wall.
Yeah, and you see cars are getting really wide out of there, like all the way onto that kind of runoff area to try and get some speed. So just one little mistake, you plant the tire in the grass coming out of there, and it could mean an end to your race with that tire barrier right there. Now they come up the hill across the start-finish line. It's Edwin Onofre in 8th, looking towards the bumper of Jason Wallet in 7th. Hasn't run the last couple races. I believe he's making an attempt at Road to Pro, which runs about the same time as this series on Thursday nights. So he's making an attempt at that, try and get into the Coke series, but he's here tonight running 7th in that Drexel University car, and he's getting chased down by Edwin Onofre right now, 3 seconds behind Bradley Skinker from Ball State in front. You're looking back a little bit. Lucas Moody has not had the start I thought he might. Started out back in 11th or in 12th place. We got a car around, interrupted there by a spin from Jason Wallet, who got it on the grass coming up the hill and lost it on entry into the corner. That's a weird place to have an accident. Maybe just a lack of focus there, but he spins it out, drops it back to 10th, and he falls right back into the range of the driver I was talking about, Lucas Moody, who started 11th. We see how fast those Ball State cars, thought maybe he could try to pull it up a little bit, move through the field. He struggled to do that, and now Aiken Lamar has gone off the track as well back there, so now Moody will get up to 10th. But a bit of drama there from some of these cars. Wallet and Lamar around early.
Yeah, I think Bradley Skinker also had a little bit of an incident with Benjamin Fiore. I think one of them had gone out wide, gotten a little slow, but now Bradley Skinker just said he was off track not too long ago. But they're the closest battle on track right now, kind of dueling it out. was trying to put dueling and duking together, and it was very awkward. But yeah, as they head down into turn 1 here with some of these paints, we're getting these paints fixed. Sorry about that.
We're figuring it out. Edwin Onofre's got that flannel car, which always throws me off when I see it. We had an FIU car at one point, and I think I referred to it as a Drexel car for the entire broadcast because they run the exact same colors.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Yeah, we're watching a good battle right here. This is for, believe this is for, yeah, this is the battle for 6. This is Ben Fiore and Bradley Skinker, Marist College on Ball State here. The Ball State, we've kind of joked about them having a 1-2-3 in FC and a 2-3-4 in CPC. They got a 2-3-6 tonight. Whitlock and Fiore in the middle, breaking that up as Johnson runs away with the race as he has so often this season. Alif second, Davidson third for now. Still watching this battle here between Fiore and Skinker for position. This would be 5th. Fiore is actually a little faster than Bradley Skinker, it looks like, but he's also having some internet issues.
Maybe that's why I'm
fade off the track occasionally.
Yeah. Whoa! Almost slid out there.
Almost. Yeah, we've seen a couple cars almost. It's a very tricky section of the racetrack. A couple spins, Burrow, Wallet, Lamar, but just as many near misses early on in this race.
Let's jump back up here to Cale Davidson. Cale Davidson and Muhammad Alif going side by side right now into turn 1. Let's see who's going to make it out in the front.
Here we go. Cale Davidson has to back out. Didn't want to make that move happen on the outside, but he's just as fast coming down now into turn 3. Can't get him there, though. Look at that. All the runoff. You see the dirt being used on the exit of that corner from how wide the drivers are running down into there. He'll try a move into the left-hander here, but he's not close enough to make it happen. Can't get alongside. Alif will hold it for now. He needs to get close enough that he can try to make a run under braking into the corner. There's a lot of places to do that on that track. On this track, and if you can use some of that energy deployment, some slipstream here, something to get up to the back of him, you might be able to make the move stick through one of these corners.
Yeah, this is the corner I was talking about. This long, awkward right-hander where it starts you out wide and then it gets tighter and then it also and then open back up. It's kind of I guess it almost diamonds you a bit as you're driving through. It's a very awkward corner into this really fast right-hander, which I personally love, one of my favorite. And then you go down this long, it is essentially, it has turns, but it is essentially a straight into this braking hander. You brake there as soon as you come across, the paint changes, and you swing over to the right-hander. You try to use as much curb as you can. Try not to slide your car as much, and then you come in this complicated section where you have to brake just right. It's kind of a blinded, braking and turn-in point.
Cars over the track here trying to get these spots, using all of the runoff that they possibly can to try and move up. We actually got a couple really close battles on track right now. We're still watching this one for 2nd. Fiore and Skinker are back together for 5th, and Wallet and Moody are going at it for 9th. A lot of really fun racing on this track right now as Alif and Davidson, the 2 teammates at Ball State, continue to duke it out for the 2nd spot. Down through turn 3. Davidson just needs to get a good run out of the corner, get a good run down a straight, and he can try to close it up to make it happen. But right now, he's stuck about 0.4 of a second back, and he hasn't really been able to pull it any closer as he goes into turn 5.
Yeah, as you said, I think we have 3 battles right now, all about 0.2 apart, which is actually pretty crazy. As you know, usually these battles, these cars or these tracks, separate out these this series. Sorry, as my I don't really know what I'm saying there. But they were able to, I guess they're able to kind of keep it together. This is, as you said, there is long straights, so there's places for drafting. Obviously, this is no Watkins Glen, which I just call the draft city. If you're not in a draft in Watkins Glen, you're not getting anywhere. You're not winning. You're not catching anyone. It's just you need draft in that track. Or obviously people to make mistakes, but if you're kind of both driving the same line, you're never really gonna catch anything. But here I think it's the same thing. You kind of get this draft as you're coming down that as Cale Davidson sends it out wide as he's going into the outside again.
Yeah, we'll see if he can get it here into this corner. He's just not close enough.
Ugh.
And he'll have to drop out a leaf with a big slide there on exit, getting the power down to keep the car ahead of his teammate and to keep that battle going. Cale Davidson, I don't think we've seen him really be faster than a Leaf this season. I think this is the first time that he's really shown up and given a Leaf a big run for his money, and he might actually have the pace to get around him here. He's caught right back up, and he is fighting for it. We're going to head down into turn 1 with these two cars. It's a Leaf still ahead of Cale Davidson, all the way out onto that curbing, getting everything they can down through there. Another quick right-hander and another big long straight. All that dirt being kicked up. Whitlock behind, not wanting to crash the car, running a much shallower line than our two podium drivers are right here. And Moody's actually just gotten past Wallet for 9th, so that battle's raging pretty good as this one goes on right here. Yeah, let's watch this battle for a little. It's Jason Wallet on Lucas Moody. Moody just made the pass happen down that front straightaway, but Wallet is still there and he's still looking. Isn't letting Moody get away for this 9th place position. And he'll send it up the inside here, but he's not close enough, and he'll decide to tuck it back in. Aiken Lamar back there in 11th might be trying to join this fight as well. 10th place is the last point spot in this race, and the top 10 at the end of the season get to win some cash money for their troubles. So every point matters, especially if you're back there at 11th, like Aiken Lamar, Jason Wallet, two cars that haven't ran that many races this season. Get a good points day, get yourself up there in the standings, and try to win your share of the pot at the end of it.
Yeah, I think you know, all three of these battles you have going on here, I think the person behind is kind of just enjoying watching what's happening. You have, you know, Ryan Whitlock, who's just kind of sitting there watching in the back, seeing if anything's gonna happen up front. They're kind of like little sharks waiting for some blood, waiting for some action to happen, and then be able to swoop in and kind of take what's left over there. Same thing with you know, Jason Wallet, Lucas Moody. They've separated a little bit, but Aiken Lamar is kind of sitting back as well, kind of hoping for something. So I you know, it's yeah. I don't have anything else to add on to that.
While this battle's going on, we've seen Bradley Skaker actually blew past Ben Fiore. He'd been trying to make that move happen for about a couple laps. It looks like a mistake from Ben Fiore. He's put that car 1.2 ahead, so it was a really tight battle there. The gap has opened up. Skinker's got that car up to 5th. And we'll see if he has anything for Ryan Whitlock, who's in 4th, interrupting the Ball State train of cars at the front.
The wall of ball up front with Cale and R Muhammad Alif that Ryan Whitlock's gonna have to get by to be able to get at least infiltrate to be able to get into that podium position. Do I think he could happen it? Do I think he could happen it? I think it could happen. Do you think he could do it? Yeah, I think he could. He's not, you know, I think he's saving his tires. He might be even fuel saving. He could be running all types of strategy, and that's the fun thing about these 45-minute races. Not the 90-minute races. I think they have a little bit more strategy, definitely. But, you know, you have strategy with these longer races, whereas, you know, you don't really get that with some of the shorter races you have on Wednesdays, which are still a blast. I mean, it's a sprint to the finish, you know, all out. But this has a little bit of strategy. As you see, Cale really likes to slide it in that corner.
They're both going at it right now, and Ryan Whitlock is kind of just chilling. He stayed about 2 to 3 seconds back of this battle, waiting for something to happen, waiting for maybe a mistake to get made to help him get himself up into a podium position. We might be going side by side for 10th here soon. Aiken Lamar is right up on Wallet, and Aiken Lamar's made a mistake as I say that and lost about half a second there. But that battle's really tight. I think Lamar's probably a little faster. He might get him soon. We're still watching Cale Davidson looking at our Muhammad Alif. The gap was down at about 0.2. It's gone back up to about 0.8. And here's his Aiken Lamar battle. He's definitely the faster car. He'll send it up to the inside of Jason Wallet here, down past the start-finish line. He might get the move done down the straightaway. He will get the move done by a down on the straightaway. Huge move for Aiken Lamar. Get himself up into the points and defeat Jason Wallet, sending him back to 11th for now.
Yeah, Aiken Lamar's just gonna have to hold on to it. Hopefully he, you know, Again, these cars do have an MGUK, so they do have a battery that they can deploy into attack mode, for instance, or Jason could, for instance, be in build mode, or if he's in a balance, he could be at his limit already. So what they do is, as Aiken goes wide again there, I think he's already done that once this race. He does it again. He misses his braking point going up to the Corvette corner.
Yeah, a lot of mistakes, a lot of near mistakes too being made. And you mentioned strategy. That's something that comes into play a little here, because every driver does have to make that mandatory pit stop. So when you've got a driver like Jordan Johnson, who we've seen be really, really good in the pits this season, versus a driver maybe like Edwin Onofre, who's gotten a bunch of pit road speeding penalties, that can really play a factor. I mean, it won't come into account tonight because it's a dry race, but in the rain last week at Fuji, we saw Williams, actually, I believe he's the only driver all season to manage a no-stop race. In the rain, he ran out of gas coming out of the final corner and limped it across the line for a way better finish than he would have gotten otherwise. So those kind of strategy plays, even in these shorter races, can kind of come into effect depending on track conditions here. As Hunter Hadesty's gone off track. Yeah, you see him around right there. They come into shot as I talk about it. Hunter Hadesty spun it coming out of the final corner. Disaster for Clemson today, as they are last place, and Hadesty has a crash of his own to drop it back to 11. Then he'll have to bring it into the pits here for repair.
That's actually his second incident. I was already ready to queue up his first incident there, and then he spins it again. So we're gonna take a quick look back at his first incident, and then we'll jump to the second one, so everyone kind of understands what's happening there. As I hold on, I need to. There we go. All right, let's take a look back at kind of what happened there.
Right.
Oh,
that's all low.
I see what he did. He locked up going into the corner. Let's see if I can get one more shot of that again.
There. Let's see this. Yeah. So he comes out of here. Does he catch the grass at all?
I think he does. I think his left rear catches the grass.
It was close there for sure, but he misses the corner, spins it around, and then he does it again in this corner.
Let's see.
This is going to be a replay of this one.
Oh my gosh, the stupid trees. Yeah, all right. The frustrating part about not being able to control the cameras. Let's see. Let's look at that second incident there.
Yeah, so this is the second one for Hunter Hadesty. This is coming through the final corner. And goes wide.
He touches the
grass.
Gets
it on
there.
the grass, spins it out, can't lock it down, and gets some air off the tire barrier there. Credits to the iRacing physics engine for that one, but at least the rear wing is still on the car, which means it's better off than his teammates.
I think I can get another angle off of this one.
Let's see. Does he hit the grass?
Yep.
Just a little.
Just touches grass just a little bit. Yeah, it sends him around. And now this has heated up his tires, so that'll be a rough one for him there.
Doesn't help with what happened after. iRacing, one of very few video games where you do not, in fact, want to touch grass.
Not too long ago, about a year ago, I think, you wanted to touch grass. That was something you actually wanted to do.
Was that the Spa Enduro where everyone was on the grass and qualifying for all their laps?
Yeah, I think this is just about where I think they hadn't fixed it yet. This is about the time about a year ago, I think, that this was all happening with that tire touching, tire dipping is what people called it, right?
We got still Cale Davidson, still just kind of hanging out 7/10 back of our Muhammad Alif, and then Ryan Whitlock is still 2.5 behind them, hasn't been able to make the charge up yet. You do gotta wonder if he's maybe just saving, doesn't want to insert himself into this battle, hoping either Alif or Davidson just use up what they've got or make a mistake up here, and Ryan Whitlock can charge up into the podium position. He doesn't really need to worry about Bradley Skinker in 5th because he hasn't really caught him up either. It's kind of just these two cars right here hanging out. Maybe not running as hard as they could because they're teammates and don't want to kill each other, but we'll see how this plays out over the next 24 minutes.
Wow, 20 minutes gone already. You know, these goes by a lot quicker than you think. Also, they go a lot by quicker in the booth. driving there, it's grueling. It's kind of a grueling process. You know, it's not. It's only the prototypes. These are very fast cars, but they do get separated out. Whereas if you're driving an IMSA, you're passing GT3s. You're fighting if you're in a GTP, you should say you're fighting GT3s and the annoying LMP2s. If you're driving an LMP2, you might think the GTPs are annoying, but you know, it goes all back and forth. Everyone hates everyone else. Whatever class you're not in, you hate all the other classes. But it does make it a little more of a grueling process, not because it's boring per se that there's no one on the track with you, but it's hard. You know, you're just constantly just trying to fight this car, and it's a very difficult car to drive. It's really powerful, lots of downforce, but yeah, lots of power, lots of torque.
Very fast car, especially. Well, we've actually upgraded a bit this season. This would have been way faster than last season's Formula C, but we've changed that around to Super Formula this season, so I think they're a bit closer in the lap times between those two cars. Gap's still steady at about 8/10 of a second for now. We'll see if that's able to come down at all, if Davidson can mount a charge in the coming laps on his teammate, Muhammad Alif.
Yeah, you got Muhammad Alif in the Cadillac, which is my preferred car to drive. I think the Cadillac's one of the easiest cars to drive, but it's the most fun in my opinion. You know, you got the big old honking V8 in there, no turbos, just naturally aspirated. It's a really fun car to drive. I think the brakes are really fun, really nice. And then the Acura, my second kind of favorite car there with Cale Davidson. You know, that's a good car. If it's gonna be a rainy race, or if I know it might rain, I'm gonna pick the Acura. It's a bit better on rain there than the Cadillac, but in the dry, I'm probably going with the Cadillac myself, because especially that you know, that lag with the turbo lag, it's a killer. I've lost spots on coming out of the pits with turbo lag.
It could be really rough here. I believe Aiken Lamar's going to be the first car into the pits this race. He's making his pit stop there, so he'll be the first car to do that. Starting the pit cycle about halfway through here. You see Ben Fiore is flashing pit. That's because of his internet issues and not anything with the car actually being in the pit lane. Aiken Lamar making the required fuel stop here that every driver will need to make at some point in this race. So he'll get that done now. He'll send it out, and he'll be the first car on new fuel. We don't typically see new tires taken in these races. It's typically considered not worth the lap time with how short these races actually are. So it's going to be a fuel-only stop here for Aiken Lamar, and he'll get it right back out.
Fuel only. That's an interesting strategy. I don't know what the do I have a weather? No, I don't. I don't know if the weather's gonna be is like in the session. Oh, let me there you go. I don't know what the fuel is like, or the weather's like in the session. I don't know if it's a hot track or a cold track. It looks a little spicier than normal. As they're sliding around a little bit more than I had initially anticipated. So I think it is a little warmer. I am kind of shocked that they didn't go for tires there, as I mean, do they have the space? Yeah, they have. They
typically
have
see tire stops in this series. This is typically fuel only. But how short the races are, a lot of these drivers just don't really think it's worthwhile to put new tires on for the last 15 minutes of a race.
Yeah, you got 20 minutes left. It might not be worth it. I guess there are a few circumstances where tires would be worth it. If I didn't crash out of Sebring, I think I would have taken tires just because of how boiling that track was. That track was the hottest I've ever seen it this season so far. I think that was the hottest race we've had, and yeah, I would have taken tires if I had not spun out.
I mean, we do love to run the tracks hot in this series, and we've had a lot of really hot racetracks this season across all series. Prototype at Daytona track temp was like really high, if I remember. Cup has had a lot of really, really hot, slick racetracks that make that thing difficult as hell to drive. More challenging on the drivers, I think, that way, with a really hot racetrack like we've got at races like Sebring.
Yeah, we got you, who are you were doing pretty well in oh gosh, it wasn't was it last week that you did pretty well? You're up to P10 there in the Cup.
We don't talk about what happened after. I don't think I got caught by the broadcast. I don't think I got caught by the broadcast. I was running 9th and I drove straight into the wall and it killed my car and I finished 18th.
Oh, you pulled a Drew.
Yep.
Did your wheel disconnect as well?
Nope, just ran out of talent.
You don't want to see me drive a
wall off
cup car.
too. First time I hit the wall all race, car was trashed. I was like, well.
It's fine, you know.
I don't think I got caught either because me and Valecki crashed into each other on the last lap too and almost killed a Leaf from second.
Oh, I do remember that. Yes, I remember that specifically. But yeah, I mean, listen, you're doing better than I could because there's a reason I'm behind the controls there. You don't want to see me in an oval race. My iRating is deceiving. My oval iRating. If anyone knows my oval iRating, it's like a little over 2400. I am not a 2400 oval driver. That is all grinded from Atlanta trucks. I was able to apparently be very good at Atlanta in the trucks. I was able to gain 1,000 iRating in 1 week.
Yeah, I was the opposite. I was a 2500 driver. I have lost in the last 2 months approximately 950 iRating.
Wow.
I am down to 1550.
Where is this? What track?
Daytona was bad.
Oh.
Daytona was bad.
Listen, I could have told you that.
A couple others I've just had like miserable. I tried to run 87s a couple weeks ago and crashed out of 3 straight races.
Those are hard. They're hard to drive.
I tried to run Gen 4 at Kansas and I got flipped over on lap 1. And then I ran another race and I ran out of talent. It's been not a great couple months for me in the officials. Our Muhammad Alif and Cale Davidson have both pulled it into the pits here, and Ryan Whitlock will follow them as well. So the pit cycle continues for these 3 cars, and we'll see if anyone can make a good pit stop and try to gain some time here. Bradley Skinker follows him in as well.
That's a cool shot there. I kind of enjoyed that. Kind of that open background, you know, but then you got those mean cars right in there. The look of the Caddy and the Acura there, probably my 2 favorite next to the I think the Ferrari has obviously it's not an IMSA, but Ferrari has a good look, and the Lamborghini is not a bad look either. My favorite is the Peugeot, right? Yeah, I think that looks awesome. Anyone watches WEC, they would know.
4 cars down here. Johnson's still out. Fiore and Moody are still out. Wallet will come in with them, and it's our Muhammad Alif who's going to lead them off pit road. So he'll cycle to 4th. That's Cale Davidson out behind. Ryan Whitlock will come out next. That gap between Alif and Davidson skyrocketing by about 4 seconds there. Alif with a great pit stop. Skinker will come out then, and then it should be Wallet who will come out last. Edwin Onofre is yet to pit. He's the only car back there in that part of the field who has not pit yet. Neither have our top 3 contenders for tonight's race.
Yeah, we got Lucas Moody here. He's he's one of our brave. Oh my, as his information is not popping up, but one of the brave people to jump on to Zoom. Excuse me, the cameras, not Zoom. The cameras. These are in their cars. Yes. With that background, yes, with that actually great background. Lucas is always one to do that. Yeah, as he's driving here in 3rd, as he's yet to pit as well. See how far he can go. I think he only has what, lap maybe 2 left.
Yeah, Jordan Johnson's just come in now, so that'll be that pit stop. So it's Fiore who's also come in. Moody's the only car left out there. Ball State drivers love to have a bit of fun with it in their esports center. I think we saw Cale Davidson, who was running Dancing Dragon on the monitor during an interview a couple weeks back. Who was it that came behind Alif with a flag that said, if you're not first, you're last, after he finished 2nd in one of these races?
Oh,
that might have been Cale Davidson.
I don't know.
It's been a fun season for those Ball State drivers.
Oh yeah, that's definitely something not going to forget. And really, that's what it's all about. It's all what it's about. It's these guys can, they can kind of jump in, and if you have a team like Ball State does, you can really just kind of create just such a good and fun environment. I mean, that's the reason why I started broadcasting. I was not good at any kind of sports, sports, but even esports generally. Like I was not good enough. The only thing I was closest to being good enough was CS:GO. But from there, you know, I just kind of fell into the entire community, and I really enjoyed broadcasting, and so kind of got into broadcasting. I was able to we're gonna hide Lucas there for a little bit. I was able to kind of just jump in, and that was what really drew me in. I wasn't in love with the competing. I wasn't in love with the anything else. I was in love with the environment. Like if you're not having fun, if you're not enjoying yourself with what's happening, you're not gonna enjoy yourself in general. You want to be around a fun group of guys. And honestly, these Ball State guys, they have everything. They have both. They have the fun teammates, they have the awesome room, and they, you know, I'm not from Ball State either, but it's a great place to go. I think they have it's a bigger school, but they just have fun. They you know, they know what to do, but they put the time, they put the hours in, they put the practice in, so they know how they know how to do it. Ball State, I think, has done it well, and I think they're really having fun with it. And that's, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. You just want to have fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've posted a couple. People that know about it a bit, but we just set up a new esports center at OU, where I go to school, and it is really cool. I've got a really cool rig in there. A lot of programs really across the country, Ball State, OU, really kind of investing in sim racing and having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, my college, we have an esports center that we set up in my sophomore year. So now 5 years ago. Please, I'm not old, I promise. So not that long ago, it was my sophomore year. And we ended up buying a rig. I didn't end up using the rig because I had a better equipment back at home, and it was just easier for me to, you know, use my own rig. As we have Edwin and Benjamin Fiore kind of battling here. Can Edwin nudge it out? Yeah, he can. He can get it. Nice.
Has he pit yet, or is he the only car still out there?
I can tell you, I believe.
Might be a little less fuel for Edwin enough, right? Helping.
Edwin has pit. Everyone has pit at this point.
He has pit. All right, so he cycled around really well then, because he was running a little further back. He's come out in 6th. Really good run, a really good cycle for him. He's moved up a couple spots there around Ben Fiore for 6th, and he'll set his sights on Bradley Skinker. They're in 5th. Yeah. A lot of. I'm hoping I can get a camera up there in the OU Esports Center for you in a couple weeks here for that finale. I think that'd be pretty cool. A lot of these in-car cameras are always really fun from these drivers. We get to watch them have a good time, have a good race. Sometimes get really frustrated at the camera. Really fun stuff.
Yeah, I do enjoy. I mean, you know, I have that iconic clip that I got in Cup of DeWale and who was it? Was it DeWale and Halterman? Yeah, that when they crashed into each other because DeWale ran out of fuel. And that was iconic. I mean, I thought that was great to see just their live raw reactions into what they were doing. Obviously, I guess I could record each of them, but that's a lot of processing power I don't have there. So. But I think it's great to see the drivers' raw reactions and seeing what they're doing and how they're doing stuff, and maybe even their setup. I mean, some of the drivers, you can see what they're running and you know, how everyone competes, because you can compete down with a Logitech G920 all the way up to, we have people competing with SimiCubes. I know Thomas Toomey has a SimiCube 2 or Pro 2 Pro or something like that, with like a GSI wheel. I mean, he's got the whole kit and caboodle. But you know, you still have people run on G920s like Drew Williams up until a few weeks ago, or you know, last season I think, and we saw how well Drew was. I mean, he got P2 or P3 and up. He won.
I've been back and forth between the I ran the first. I think I ran the entire fall semester, and I've run all except for the last 3 weeks on a G920, and I'm just getting into the like direct drive rig setup now.
I'm in an awkward middle phase, so I went and bought my rig off of someone here in CIL, and so I have a belt-driven. So it's not gear-driven, but it's also not direct drive. It's that awkward middle stage where it's not really a direct drive, but it's also not really gear-driven. So it's like, you don't want to make that upgrade to get to the direct drive because they're expensive. But you also don't want to, you're not in the schlumps. I wouldn't say schlumps. You can still compete pretty well, but it is noticeable with a gear driven. You can notice the gears. So it's an awkward stage. I don't think I'll change. I like my belt driven, but I've never tasted the direct drive, so I can obviously say that.
I'll tell you, it is crazy when you get on one for the first time and you're like, wow. Holy, like I had the same experience with a load cell brake pedal I got to test out. I was like,
Oh
my
yeah, load
God,
cells are nice.
this
I
is
did.
crazy.
Yes, I did. I did invest in the load cells. I was running for a while. I was running potentiometer, Thrustmaster, because I used to run a Thrustmaster as well. And I ended up buying another used. Again, I buy all my sim equipment used. You know, sim racing doesn't have to be expensive. You know, you can just buy everything. You can buy a bunch of stuff used. But I did end up buying that, and that changed a lot because braking, it's incredible. I have a bit of an awkward setup. My brakes are ridiculously hard, so instead of the normal like rubber inserts you know, my pedal doesn't move. My pedal is solid. I actually have metal washers instead of the little rubber silicon inserts. It's they always talk about how, you know, the Formula One brake pedals don't really move, they're really stiff. I essentially have my Formula One, or my brake pedal setup is like a Formula One car. It's all pressure, there's no movement.
Yeah. Like, I like seeing all these schools like really investing in sim racing, especially when you've got a school like Ball State where they've got like a whole center. They've got like at least like 7 or 8 drivers who run CIL across the various leagues. You know, schools like Drexel regularly showing up with a couple cars. St. Clair, they've been in this series a couple times this season. They've won a race earlier this season, showing up with 3 to 4 cars sometimes. It's always fun to see more teamwork going on, more schools invested in this series, producing, you know, a lot of really fun racing, especially with teams like Ball State.
Yeah, St. Clair was probably CIL's first big school to really bring a lot of teammates. And then, ooh, it's Bradley Skinker. Everyone's sliding around that corner. I guess I haven't driven either it's a really hot track or I haven't driven this track enough with these cars that maybe that's what you're supposed to do. Maybe you're supposed to kind of slide it through that corner there. But you know, as he comes around, Bradley Skinker comes around for that last turn there and but you know, as he comes up through over that NTT board. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, they were the first, and then I think, oh, maybe Clemson was technically the first with the biggest amount of people. Yeah, okay, so Clemson, then we had St. Clair, and now we have Ball State. But even FIU, if anyone was around with when FIU was here, I mean, they kind of pop in here and there, but they're definitely not as prominent as they used to be. They were another big school that we had, and yeah, all these schools kind of have we've seen them grow and invest more into not only esports but even sim racing. Sim racing, I guess they're recognizing that sim racing is a thing. It's here, and it's here to stay.
I've seen a couple FIU drivers rear their head in this series. Had a couple good runs for Diaz as Skinker goes wide, and Edwin Onofre from nowhere puts a big send into that corner, gets the spot, and he'll move up in the top 5. He's had a really good run to end this race. Came out of the pit 7th off a really good pit stop, past Fiore, past Bradley Skinker, and now he's running in that 5th position, and he'll get himself some good points here this race for sure.
Yeah, you know, he's he's down into or up into P5, whatever you want to call it. There for the Edward. Wow, can I talk today? The University of North Texas car hunting down Ryan Whitlock. There's a 10-second gap. Ryan Whitlock, I don't think you're gonna catch him. Edwin, you're good, but so is Ryan Whitlock, and you got a 10-second gap there. Unless Ryan makes a mistake or Edwin just somehow turned on the jets there, it's gonna be a close one.
We might actually get a bit of a repeat of this Bradley Skinker Ben Fiore battle, except it might be for 6th this time instead of 5th, because Fiore has that gap down. It's down to about 1.4 seconds. Onofre is pulling away from Skinker, but that's putting him increasingly at risk of getting caught by that Marist College Acura, who's going to try to make some time up and try to get that Ball State car, demoting, you know, the Ball State cars who we've seen have a lot of top 5s this year. Only 2 cars in the top 5 this race. Skinker 6th, maybe on the verge of going to 7th, and Moody has not had a good race at all back in 8th.
Yeah, Moody's not doing too hot this race this week. You know, it's a fun track. It's a long track, and it's a complicated track. You have a lot of those straights, but you also have a lot of very technical corners as we watch Bradley Skinker come up to the Corvette corner that I'm talking about. As you get light, and you have to turn left, and you have to make sure you don't go out wide, as we saw, I think was Hunter. No, Who did we see? Drexel, Wallet, Jason Wallet. That was it. Drexel, Jason Wallet get loose there, and that's when he spun. It's a very tricky corner as well as there. It's especially in the rain. Now, if you've ever driven here in the rain, woo, good luck. You got those long straights into those right hand corners, left hands, rough.
Now that we have rain in the series, I am always secretly hoping for a rain race so I can go full meteorology on it like we did at Watkins Glen for that one. We've had a couple scheduled rain races at the Glen and at Fuji, but we haven't really had a spontaneous rain shower yet in this series. Got a couple more chances. We've got, what do we have coming up here? We have Interlagos, pretty rainy area of Brazil there, and Road Atlanta both coming up. So maybe some chances to get a little bit of weather on the schedule there in those last couple races.
Yeah, and I can kind of speak from the administration side of things that the two races, Watkins Glen and Fuji, they were planned wet races. We sat down and we're like, all right, we're gonna make these races wet. I think kind of everyone had known about that, especially Watkins Glen. It was the first race after rain had dropped, literally like 2 days afterwards. And so we're gonna have a rain race, and we had initially planned Fuji to be a wet race, but the rest of these are just up to chance. We kind of just, it's whatever happens. I would love to have, I guess, real data with the rain, but that's a little difficult to kind of gauge. You'd have to make the session almost day of, or use historical data. It's a little difficult, but now it's up to chance. So it's whatever kind of happens. We don't really mess with the rain, the weather after that.
I think rain's a really fun addition to iRacing. Really keeps a lot of drivers on their toes. I will just add into the record here, I am currently looking at the forecast for Interlagos in Brazil. 65% chance of rain next Thursday.
Ooh.
I'd be down to cast that.
Yeah.
I'd be down for some rain.
Yeah, I think we'll have I think Matt Nordberg will be back next week for that. We didn't realize kind of Matt Nordberg. We knew there was a bit of a mix up, so you got me today broadcasting. I hope it's okay with everyone else, but yeah, it'll be a good one. Will I race? Maybe. I'm not too opposed to racing that, to be honest. Yeah, because I don't start. Oh, today's Thursday, so I might actually be around for the last two races, this one and the next two. We'll see what's up. Ooh, we haven't really touched on Jordan Johnson, so I kind of switched over to his camera for a bit, as he's the only person who's ever broken into the 147s this race.
I mean, we haven't talked about it because he grabbed the lead early and absolutely took off 20 seconds, or 20 seconds ahead of our second place driver, our Muhammad Ali. He is gone. One thing I want to notice with these race times is that they're definitely slower than the quali times. I mean, Johnson's was pretty close. Alif's not too far off from what he ran in quali, but then you look a little further back. Bradley Skinker 1.5 off his quali time. Ryan Whitlock a little more. I think he's about 1.6 off what he qualified at. So a lot slower times in these races with these cars not in qualifying trim.
Wow, look at that last lap. Jordan Johnson with a 148.3, where Alif did a 149.4. So a 1.1 seconds faster around the last lap was Jordan Johnson compared to Alif. We'll see what the updated time here is. He's got 20 seconds till then. We'll kind of leave up that. Oh, actually, this is the last lap here. I think we got about 30 seconds left of the race, just about.
White flag displayed for Jordan Johnson. We'll see if he can. Well, he will, but likely get around. We'll see what this last lap time is. We'll see him come around here through his final lap of this racetrack. Unless something goes horrendously wrong, which I mean would not be out there for this series. Zach DeWale crashed on the last lap at Watkins Glen from the lead. Right. It has happened. Jordan Johnson is going to bring us home to win this race through that turn 6 and 7 down there. He'll get it up, coming into the big right-hander carousel down here, that corner that's so tricky. Uh, we raced last week at Fuji. Has a really similar corner to this where you're able to take it really fast in the dry. But when we saw that corner in the wet, it was probably one of the most challenging parts of the circuit. Several drivers crashed out, ended their races there at Fuji. 190 down the straightaway into the corner. All of that curb being used to get it off. And Jordan Johnson's going to take it home through this very tight section of S's, through the final corner on this racetrack. And Jordan Johnson coming out at turn 14 is going to go up the hill, and he is going to take the win tonight here at Road America in the College Prototype Challenge by about 20 seconds over the current second place driver, Muhammad Alif.
And he's going to grab the fastest lap of a 147.732 to finish out his race. He said, I'm gonna pull a Max Verstappen. I'm gonna get the fastest lap on the last race, or the last lap. Fastest, yeah. Thank you.
Going all out until the bitter end. And there's Muhammad Alif coming across. P2, P3 behind him will be his teammate, Ball State's Cale Davidson. Will claim third. We're gonna look back to fourth. That's going to be Ryan Whitlock. Fifth, I believe, will be Edwin Onofre bringing it across the line here. And I saw there was a battle for sixth. I don't know if that's gotten close enough. No. Okay, so Bradley Skinker's held it. He's held it over that seventh place car there. And Lucas Moody will bring it home eighth.
Just now crossing across. Wow, going across the finish line. Then we got Aiken Lamar just coming around these last few, that last corner. And then after that, I think we have Andrew Burrell, who also needs to cross the finish line here, who's also coming up the thing. And then we are finished for tonight, and that was Road America.
End of the CIL College Prototype Challenge at Road America. We'll get the grid or the results from the race up for you here shortly, and then we'll get some of these drivers into the booth for our post-race interviews with the top three here tonight. Getting ready was Edwin Onofre, our alumni winner there. He's still the alumni win from P5.
Yeah, we did. We got Edwin Onofre with that win there.
Nice.
And yeah, we got Jordan Johnson, Alif, and Cale, and Edwin. So that's a good finish there from all of them. I think that was a pretty good race as we kind of sit here in a little bit and wait for them to show up. You know what? Why don't we take a look at the results before we go ahead and driver, I think it is. Go ahead, before we can talk to these guys here. Here are our results.
First, Kent State University's Jordan Johnson. And in second place, Muhammad Alif of Ball State. Cale Davidson from Ball State will take third, and Ryan Whitlock will bring it home fourth. From the University of Alabama, Huntsville, University of North Texas's Edwin Onofre will take fifth, followed by Ben Fiore of Marist College in sixth. Bradley Skinker will take seventh, and his teammate Lucas Moody, both of Ball State University, seventh and eighth for those two. Jason Wallet from Drexel will take ninth, and Aiken Lamar of the Howard Community College will bring it home in 10th. And rounding out our grid tonight, it'll be the two Clemson drivers in 11th and 12th. Hunter Hadesty P11 and Andrew Burrow will take P12 tonight.
There are our finishing results. I think we have everyone in our booth, so why don't we go ahead and grab the P1 winner, Jordan Johnson. We can drag him up. Jordan Johnson, you got a copy?
Maybe.
What a dominated race you have there tonight. I don't even, did you even see anyone else that entire race after the start?
I saw Cale give the position to Alif, but other than that, no, not really. I think I lapped someone somewhere about halfway through, maybe somewhere after the pit stop. Maybe I saw a car.
You saw a car, were you just kind of on cruise control there? You just kind of, once you took off from the start, you got away from Alif and Cale, and you just kind of you put the cruise control button on, and you just kind of kicked back a little bit and just kind of steered with one arm.
Maybe not steer with one arm. The track's a little bit bumpy here, so I'd absolutely rip the wheel out of my hand if I did that. But Yeah, the first stint I was honestly just relaxing. I put stuff in the background and was just listening. You might as well kind of that lo-fi homework music type deal. Wasn't exactly that, but that's what it felt like. Second stint I decided to push a little bit more, but that was just for fun to see what lap times I could put in and then really kind of sent it for the final lap. But yeah, it was really just a relaxing race for the most part.
I mean, you've won so many of these now. I'm just gonna start asking you: do you like the track? Is it a fun racetrack to drive?
Road America, yeah, it's always a very good track. It always produces great racing. I tend to not like it in the slower cars because it's near impossible to pull away. But in Indy cars, these GTPs, any of the faster stuff, it's a great track. It doesn't look like it, but the car was quite on edge for me pretty much all race. It was moving around quite a bit, so it's a very fun track when you have that experience. If you don't have it set up right, the car is understeering a lot. I could see it being a really painful track, but no, I really enjoy this place.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race. We were wondering how was the track in, I guess, in general. Was it a hot day? We saw a lot of people sliding out. I cannot think of the one turn, but after that really long backstretch, I guess you have that right hander. Was it a hot track? We saw a lot of people slip it and slide in. How was the track in general? How was your driving today?
It was warm. I wouldn't say it was swelteringly hot. It's definitely within kind of what I'd expect for normal temperatures, maybe like a hot summer day or something like that. I think if you just managed your tires, it wasn't too bad. It was a little bit slick, but you can also use that to your advantage coming through the carousel of what 8, 9, 10, I believe it is. You can really use that to your advantage, but you just can't overdrive the car. It's very easy to throw it out if you're overdriving it, but if you're just balancing the car, it's really not much of an issue.
Well, that was a pretty dominated race. After your past, I think your past few races, you've had a bit of a rough few weeks there, but you were able to kind of just win by what was it, 23-second lead, so pretty dominating lead there. But you know the drill. Do you have anyone to thank, shout out, or give thanks?
Yeah, of course, Apex Racing Academy and all the support that they give us, all of our partner sponsors, Computer PC Systems, VRS, SDK, of course, the main Apex Racing team, all the guys that just help out with everything and just has enabled me to improve as a driver, be able to push things further. It's not just kind of the car and the set. It is generally that I have been able to improve myself further than I ever thought I could push. Without them, I don't think I would have gotten there. So big thanks to them and all the guys that help out.
All right, yeah. Well, it was a good race there. Congratulations on your P1, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
And that was Jordan Johnson, who got our P2 there. But Sky, why don't you go ahead and bring in our P2 finisher, who we see a lot up in the booth, both in Cup and FC, and now CPC, our Muhammad Alif.
Welcome to the booth, our Muhammad Ali. Congrats on the second place finish tonight.
Thank you very much. Hope it was a fun race for you guys.
We saw Cale Davidson, your teammate, was really close to you on pace. Or some of those Ball States cars starting to catch up and move further up the grid?
Yeah, I mean the Acura. I think Cale and Bradley made a very good call to change to the Acura. I think you could see the pace, the speed of the Acura today, tonight. So yeah, good call on them. And for me, I was just trying to keep up with, stay on pace, just lap consistently, as consistent as I can to just get the P2. Just because the pace differential was that much different between the Acura and the Caddy. But yeah, we did what we could and clinched the P2. So yeah.
Yeah, P2 was great there. And yeah, we were watching you and Cale kind of go back and forth. But other than that, I mean, once you kind of got separated a little bit away, was there any type of strategy or any type of, like, I guess, way you had to control the car? Or, I mean, this is a bit of a tricky track. It's not the most, I guess, it's not the easiest track to drive, but it's also not the hardest track to drive. So I guess, what did you think going into this? What did you have a strategy, or was just kind of like, let's just drive Road America?
Well, my strategy was basically to attack the pit entry. I think that's where the separation even happened, like 5 seconds between me and Cale. I just risked everything, almost everything, and almost got a speeding penalty going into the pits. I think that was one of the things that I had to do to stay in front of Cale. But yeah, I think after that it was just taking care of the tires, the fronts. Try not to understeer. Try not to use too much a steering angle more than I needed to. Take care of the tires and just bring the car home. I think that was the thing, because you could easily lose this car, just because of it got a bit more oversteery at the end. So you could pretty much the car was like skating around. So yeah, I was just handling that, and good P2.
All right, yeah, a really good race for you tonight. Did you do you think it was just the Acura difference in qualifying? Because I think this might be the first race this season where we've seen you not on the front row up there.
Yeah, I mean it was surprising, but I mean it wasn't a bad thing, to be honest. If you guys saw the start, just because the leader could control when he could, so basically Jordan could control when he could launch. So it wasn't that bad, just because I was directly behind him. So it would be probably better for me to react, and I think that's what happened. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think P3 or P2. I was kind of confident that I could still take it in race trim. And yeah, that's another podium.
Worked out pretty well for you. Congrats on second place, Muhammad Alif.
Thank you.
And that was our Muhammad Alif there in P2, as we we do bring up our third place finisher here, Kale Davidson. Kale had a pretty good quite a few battles there with Kale. But Kale, do you have a copy? Or Alif, excuse me. But Kale, yes, do you have a copy? Throwing names all over the place right now. Welcome in, Kale, and congratulations on that P3. I guess we'll go right into it, as I was saying his name. How was your battle with Alif? I mean, you guys were going back and forth constantly trying to kind of get around each other.
Yeah, so it was a little unexpected there. So I guess he went on attack at first to kind of try to set a faster lap towards the beginning of the race, but then with the way the MGKU deployed, he like went below that 50% like balance threshold. So his deployment got really weird, because I'd be coming off of the corner and my car would be deploying because I was unbalanced, and I'd catch up to him, but then his car would deploy at the end of the straightaway. So then it was like a weird mixture of like, oh, I just got next to you, and then now we're going the exact same speed on corner entry. And at one point, actually, I just told him in the booth a while ago, I was like, my foot went numb just like going side by side with him, like on the third time, I think, just because of the sheer fact that I didn't want to take him out and crash each other. So it was just kind of like trying to see if I was getting around him. But once his MGKU kind of figured it out, we settled in.
We saw, I think P2 is your best qualifying effort of the season. Did you put any extra effort into that, or was it just something that happened?
I'm not gonna lie, that's just pure luck. I guess it was faster than the time I put in practice, so it kind of surprised me. I have a lot of hours on this track just from other endurance races, mainly in LMP2 cars, but yeah, I don't know where it came from, but I'll take it.
Yeah, you guys came into this race. I mean, you qualified P2. You actually qualified ahead of Alif there. But what was I mean, you guys were starting next to each other. Did you kind of, right before the race, as you saw each other qualify during that warm-up session, did you guys like talk to each other? What was the strategy between you and Alif, or was it just, hey, this is the race, we're just going to battle each other and see what happens?
Well, the strategy is always just race and try to get to the end mainly. We're kind of looking at it from a point standard, but I know the only like team orders that we kind of looked through the entire race was, okay, shoot, I'm starting on the front row. I have a single curved monitor and I can't see anything outside my right window. So I'm like, can we please be quiet on the start so I can hear when Jordan goes? And then as soon as I heard him go, it was already too late, and I just got freight trained on that start.
Yeah, that was a rough start. I mean, Jordan Johnson got right off immediately, and I understand what you mean by the single monitor. It's definitely difficult to kind of gauge that. It's definitely better if you have someone else with you. But yeah, it was a rough start. But hey, you put up a really good fight there with Alif, and you came home with the P3 there for Ball State. But you know the drill. Do you have anyone to thank or shout out or give thanks?
Yeah, I want to shout out all my teammates. So Leaf, Lucas, Bradley. We're kind of excited just because clinching the Formula Series, but also our esports director, Dan, BK, and then shout out my mom, dad, and my grandma and grandpa, and then Indie Hood Rats. So.
All right. Well, Gail, thank you and congratulations on your P3 again.
Thank you.
And that was Cale Davidson, your P3 finisher from Ball State. We had the Ball State 2-3. But now we are going to go take a talk to Edwin Onofre, who is our alumni finisher here with it. It's going to be Sky Shrek, excuse me, asking a few questions.
Hey, Edward, welcome to the booth.
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here.
Congrats on the alumni win tonight. Do you think that was something you had in the cards, this top 5 finish?
Honestly, not really, but I was surprised that as soon as lap 1 started, Hunter Hadesty and Andrew Burrow got into each other, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's only 3 of us alumni competing, so they took themselves out. They just did me a favor and gave me the alumni winner overall. But yeah, getting to top 5 was not easy because the Cadillac was just on edge a lot of the times on the straight, but it was necessary because you know what they say, loose is fast. And luckily I was able to control it for the entire rest of the race to keep up and get a top 5.
Yeah, I know these are your. I mean, obviously, I see you Edwin's broadcasts himself. He kind of this is your favorite car. This is your favorite series, right? You love the GTP. It's you know it's I think it is. Correct me if wrong. Your favorite car at the moment. What were your thoughts? I think I expected. I mean, you finished P5, but you definitely had a bit of a struggle there. Was it the car? Was it the track? What was it tonight that I guess caused a bit of a struggle for you? I think you qualified in P11.
Yep, definitely qualified dead last. I was going to finish my lap until I just got very loose, as you saw in the broadcast. But the thing about it is that Road America turns out not to be one of my best tracks. I've struggled it with in GT3s this week on iRacing officials. I just could not find a way to get much faster lap times. But having a bit of experience at the GTP definitely helps. I just needed to get a few laps in there in practice and see what are my strengths and weaknesses. But the one thing I did notice is that a lot of my pace comes into braking. I was a little hesitant during practice because I did not want to lock up at all. So I just took it easy. And then from more practice, I was able to keep on pushing it and not go overboard with the braking, but I was able to find a limit on that. Unfortunately, it's not great compared to the other competitors that have the Acura, which is incredibly strong this season, as has been shown from constant winners like Jordan Johnson. Leaf tries to get to Jordan Johnson in the Cadillac, but the Cadillac just struggles overall. But the thing about it is that he figured out where to get the pace in the Cadillac. It was a track for me. For this race, it was just a track for me, and I need to keep practicing at it in order to get better with not only understanding Road America, but also if I find any advantages with the Cadillac at Road America, then I can apply to other cars for the time being.
And we saw, I mean, you had a good charge all race going from 11th up to 5th, but in the last couple laps after that pit stop, you made a couple good passes, got some positions. Walk us through that.
So I decided to pit 1 lap earlier than the rest of the field would. I was down to 1.6 estimated laps left of fuel, so I decided to go ahead and undercut. And given the temperature of the track, it was really hot, and I decided to take all 4 tires. A few of the front runners did not take tires. Some of them didn't. Some of them didn't. But I decided just to play it safe and to try to keep up with the pace, so I decided to do all 4. And then I was able to catch up to somebody, I do not remember, unfortunately, but I was able to quickly make a pass from there. And I find it weird. I find it odd because they let me by. I can't tell if they let me by on purpose and they just covered it up as a mistake, but there was not a lot of hard fighting for the position that I was able to get freely. But I appreciate all that. At least it was kept clean. But yeah, that's pretty much it was all smooth sailing from there on out. I just had to make sure I don't oversteer the car too hard on exits because my setup was definitely prone to be the type that oversteers if you try to put the power down too early. Luckily, we were able to get that from lap 1 to the end of the lap and achieve that top 5.
Congrats on the alumni win tonight. You got anyone you want to thank on the broadcast?
I'd like to thank you guys for setting this up. Sorry, there's not a lot of participation. Hopefully, we can get that happening real soon, especially because we got some popular track going up that might be blowing up, and I can't wait for it. Shout out to coworkers at Discount Tire. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Shout out to UNT. Thank you for the university for giving me the opportunity to get my degree in mechanical engineering. And shout out to my family for helping me on my journey to become a sim racer professional and a motorsport enthusiast. I still want to be a real life driver, but we're getting slow right there. We're going slowly, baby steps.
That's Edwin and Ofray. That'll conclude our race tonight. Jordan Johnson, the winner of our race. R. Muhammad Alif second. Cale Davidson in third. Really exciting race tonight from Road America. We saw a lot of good battles, especially towards the mid-pack there with cars like Skinker and Fiore.
Yeah, we really did. I think that was a pretty good race. There was a lot more battling than I had anticipated. Got some exciting action there with Edwin and Alfred. You got some exciting action with Hunter, Burrell, Aiken Lamar, Jason Wallet, Bradley Skinker, Benjamin Fiore, R. Muhammad Alif, Cale Davidson. There was battling all over the track. So I think it was a really good race, and I think Road America puts on a great show. Definitely an underrated track, as like I said in the beginning, and another win in there for Jordan Johnson. Just another check mark in the box.
Brings it up to what, 10 races out of the, I believe that's, as we've run 12, so I believe that would be 9 wins for him this season.
Right, yeah, preemptively in the beginning of the day race.
A lot of good racing coming up in the CIL. We got a Homestead next on Monday, April 8th. That'll be a fun one there from Homestead Miami Speedway. The Miami 200. We've had a couple finales held there. It's the second last race of the season this year, and it should be a very good one.
Yeah, then we got, if you can't wait, you want to wait. After that, you can't wait for more racing action. Stealing a line from Zach Linder there. We have on April 10th at 8:45 p.m. Eastern, which is when race coverage starts, the Finger Lakes Grand Prix at Watkins Glen International. And I think I might be at that one. That's going to be a great race. Watkins Glen, one of my favorite tracks. It's a drafting race, especially in these super formulas. I think it's going to be an absolutely an amazing race, and you definitely don't want to miss that again. April 10th, Wednesday, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, with I think we're going to have Keith and Edward Sanchez up in the booth.
Edward Sanchez, yeah.
We're gonna have them up in the booth.
I'm gonna say I'm not signed up for that series, so I'm hoping they let me in the booth for that race because that'll be a fun one. And then next up for the College Prototype Challenge, the second to last race of our season is going to be in Brazil at Interlagos on April 11th, same time, 8:45 Eastern, 7:45 Central for the Brazilian Grand Prix. That one should be a really fun one too. Historic track, a lot of history there in the GPP. It should be really fun around there.
Yeah, I think I might even be there. I might be racing. I might be out. Hey, I might be up in the booth. I might jump in just a little bit, be a little pit reporter or something like that. I don't know. I might have time. We'll see kind of what ends up happening next week. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a good one, and I'm excited for next week. It's gonna be, we're closing out the season for all three. We're closing out. We have 2 races left for everything. We got Miami GP or GP. We have the Miami 200. Then we got Watkins Glen, and then we got this, and then we just have one more week after that. Those are the championship races where everything's settled. It's gonna be a good one.
Good, man. Thank you for watching the Collegiate iRacing League tonight from Road America here in Wisconsin. It's been a great race tonight. Really fun as always, and congrats to our winner, Jordan Johnson.
Yep. If you guys want to catch us again, we're gonna be live on Monday, April 8th. We're gonna be live for the College Cup race, so love to see you then. And I guess for Sky Shrek and myself and everyone else here in the CIL, we'll love to see you again next week. Bye.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.